This is that once in a lifetime.
The moments that take our breath away provide meaning to life. Our first time witnessing the sunset from the skies, the moment we lay eyes on our first love, or maybe your first experience on a roller coaster. These precious bubbles of instances fill our minds, forming the foundations of our fondest memories. In real life, the human sensorium captures these moments and vividly encodes them within the subconscious. However, with animation, the creators are restricted to utilizing just two senses in attempting to create the same effect of an impactful moment: sound and sight. Attempting to discuss both of these elements in a single video would quite frankly lead to an awkward delivery, so instead I'm going to throw all my focus into breaking down character animation's role in crafting the moments in anime that take our breath away. There's an old saying from this legendary American animator called Chuck Jones that reads, "An animator is an actor with a pencil," a statement that kind of perfectly acts as a synopsis for this video. Admittedly, Jones was known for his style of visual comedy, and if you know me, I tend to like to jump straight into the emotionally wrenching stuff, so I think I'll use this opportunity to spice it up a bit. When it comes to visual comedy in anime, one studio holds the crown. I've been itching to talk about this beloved anime studio for years, so hopefully I can put my passion to good use here. In case the name Doga Kobo doesn't ring any bells, their portfolio includes Yuri Yuri, New Game, and that one. I realise that assortment won't be to everyone's liking, particularly the last one, but Doga Kobo's anime stands out almost universally due to their unrivaled ability to make people laugh. I'm certain over half of these funny anime moment videos on YouTube are from Doga Kobo shows. Visual comedy just works wonderfully even when isolated to a single scene. Choosing an example for this was a hard pick because really they're all so great, but Engaged to the Unidentified typifies the best, I think. With this show, the majority of Doga Kobo stuff actually, you'll notice a lot of the time that character movement is highly organic and almost purposefully imperfect. A kind of mimic of reality. It acts as grounding to further the juxtaposition of the overall animation with the perfervid facial expressions. I mean, they're pretty crazy, and it's that absurdity that generates the chuckle. You really feel the passion radiating from every Doga Kobo production, and that's no coincidence. Doga Kobo has a regularly returning pool of animators that it utilizes for key positions on its productions. Doga Kobo isn't structured like Kyoto Animation, yet the company achieves a similar record of consistent quality because of its importance on getting regulars back in. Take Kikuchi Ai, for example, the character designer and chief animation director of New Game. My absolute favourite anime of all time. This is one talented lass. Her animation is so energetic and free-flowing, and she's able to craft character designs that showcase this to great effect. Then again, I did work on Cowboy Bebop, so I don't think I need to try and convince you of her talents. Now, let's talk about eyes. When you think about the fundamentals of anime character art, the eyes are one of, if not the most important element of the design. They are significant proportionally relative to the size of the overall character. Doga Kobo animators make full use of this by adding more points of motion to their characters' eyes than average anime, leading to greater overall animation dynamic, which, as I've mentioned, is key to the Doga Kobo aura. Another frequent animation feature that makes me adore this studio is emotion spilling out of characters. Overall, Doga Kobo is defined by its comical approach, and it shows directly in the animation itself. Smears to show movement are incredibly common, and in addition to just being kind of fun, enable more opportunities to make us laugh. This nicely brings us back to Chuck Jones because his approach was similar, so I think that's a good sign to move on. Our emotion is characteristically the most human thing we have, so it goes without saying that its imitation in an intangible medium is exceedingly difficult. Getting animated emotion to feel genuine and belonging to a specific character is a mark of a true talented veteran. Character animation is, however, shaped by a superintendent at the helm of a production, the chief animation director. There's an unwritten rule in anime that the positions of chief animation director and character designer will almost religiously be appointed to the same person. This makes perfect sense, as who better to steer the ship than the individual responsible for the look of the actors? These combined roles exert a significant force on the overall visual identity of a series. But their influence runs deeper than simply setting the style. A chief AD's communication skills are constantly tested to ensure consistency through productions, and their relationships with the rest of the staff will have a direct impact on a series' animation quality in one way or another. If you compare a Kyoto Animation work with pretty much anything else, you can witness this in practice. They operate substantially differently from the competition, with the majority of roles being filled by salaried employees, not contractors. In turn, the chief AD has a personal working relationship with staff. They know who at the company can do certain things best, and it really, really shows.
それはチームワーク。
Let's get into the nitty-gritty of character design by talking about a specific example, Haruhi Suzumiya. Her designer, Shoko Ikeda, purposefully designed Haruhi with strong-willed facial expressions, which are fairly common for an assertive heroine, but went further to focus on her hand gestures specifically, which are probably her defining trait for her wacky aura. Now, Ikeda designed every character, but unlike most designers, she pushed her creativity further than the main cast. Supporting characters in Haruhi are very memorable in their own right. Ikeda shines in that regard, adding depth to a world through crafting a memorable ensemble, and Haruhi isn't even the best example of this. Her work on Hibiki Euphonium is a perfect summation of all the benefits this attention to detail can bring. One of the most important decisions a character designer has to make is the complexity of their designs, from the elaborateness of their line work through to their emotional range. You've got to ask, at what point does ambition become unachievable? There isn't really a clean-cut answer. Many factors influence the requirements of design, but plenty of examples exist of an imbalance between practicality and aesthetics. In my mind, the production that nailed it best was Violet Evergarden, as the delicate line art, along with lots of individual strands, allowed for a more natural motion of a character, which is ideal for showcasing multi-layered and often intense emotions. Then again, detail doesn't always correlate to success. The Monogatari series designs aren't particularly extravagant. Simplicity triumphs through the ability to draw attention to specific features. On that point, designers are often easily identifiable. For example, Mel Kishida openly states that his use of colour is pretty distinctive to him. You can pick this up in little details like cheek blushing. I find it kind of funny and simultaneously tragic that Kishida says this in the same source, and I quote, "I hope that fans will see the characters in Hanasaka Iraha and feel this is so Mel Kishida." It's funny to me because we talk a lot about how wonderful anime looks, without praising the talent behind it. It's not really our fault. I mean, finding out who worked on something can be difficult to outright impossible at times, but the fundamental purpose I want this video to serve is sparking a greater overall appreciation of the art of character animation. While it is possible to gain a snapshot of how a character is feeling from a static image, adding movement is necessary to decipher complex thoughts and emotions beyond the binary display of happiness and sadness. However, character animation's overarching success rests on its ability to capture personality. Not even simply in the sense of the animator, although many do attribute unique attitudes and stylistic features. like Megumi Kono or Hironori Tanaka. What I mean is a much more abstract concept, something at the core of the journey through a narrative. Our impressions of someone aren't dictated solely on what they vocalize. Small visual details expose our minds in a much more substantial way than you might think. We really do pay attention to the way a character breathes, their movements, their composure, the overall presence they radiate. This builds up to aid us forming our stance on a character both in the moment and throughout the course of a production. For anime that thrive on presenting a raw and human experience, like Your Lie in April, K-On!, or A Place Further Than the Universe, this is key. These anime, and others like them, stand out to me because the characters are existentially extended through their visual presentation. It's life in animation. When done right, the greater connection achieved with the subject can be a beautiful thing. It's the overarching finesse of a character's animation that establishes the right conditions for the heightened extraordinary moments that take our breath away.
青葉、ここまで登っておいで。